Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast. We have an incredibly insightful guest for you today. He's a technology evangelist, a thought leader, and extremely knowledgeable in all things mortgage. Please help me welcome Dan Bailey, Senior Vice President at WFG Lender Services. Dan, welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you. Thanks for the nice introduction. Wow, it made me blush.
Well, it is great to have you. You have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. Before we get started, for our listeners who might not know you, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we can dive into what's going on in the industry.
Sure, not a problem. So I've been involved in the mortgage industry, really working on the title and settlement services side of the business for the last 20 years. You know, it's hard for me to say that. I can't believe I've been working that long. But hey, here I am. So I started as a compliance attorney for a large underwriter, and just have progressed throughout my career, taking on roles in operations, leadership, sales management, marketing, product development, you name it. I've kind of had my hat in a little bit of everything throughout my career.
Well, and as I said, you have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. You have skill sets in all things mortgage. So let's talk about the current market conditions. Over the last several months, refi volumes have dropped significantly, but we're starting to see a resurgence and an interest from borrowers in home equity offerings. What are some of the market conditions that you think are contributing to that shift?
Well, first, I think it's, interest rates have certainly pushed everybody to really question, how they can access the equity in their homes. And, when you start, it's funny when you look back at the start of the pandemic, home equity all but dried up. That was it, right? I mean, really large lenders decided to get out of the home equity space. They didn't make loans anymore. It was done. And then obviously we had record interest rates, right? From a positive standpoint. Now we got record interest rates that are super high, but throughout the course of the pandemic, they were low. So I think that, and the other byproduct of the pandemic is soaring home values, right? All of those factors have really were positive. This year, we've seen interest rates go up. As you mentioned, refinance is not as attractive as it once was. So, it lends itself to the question of how do homeowners access the equity in their homes? And there's certainly a lot of different avenues for them to do that other than just, a cash out refinance.
So you mentioned cash out refi. Let's level set a little, especially for the people that just got in the industry for the last couple of years, not people like you and myself who have been in 20 plus years, and we'll just leave it at 20 plus. Let's level set a little for people though of, talk to me about the difference between a home equity loan and a cash out refi, just so people kind of have an understanding of where we're coming from.
Sure. I think, first the cash out refinance is a first mortgage refinance of your existing loan, right? And it's just using, you've accrued value in that home. You're taking a loan out for greater than what you owe, and you're using that cash out basically as you see fit. So whether it's to pay off credit cards, improve your home, take a vacation, whatever it may be, there's 1,000 different reasons to get equity. That's one avenue for you to do that. And that was really attractive when rates were low, because heck, who wants to, if you could get cash out 3% mortgage, who's not going to do it? Well, now that rates are at 5.25 plus, maybe that doesn't make so much sense. So now you have second mortgages in the form of a home equity line of credit, or just a home equity loan that might be more attractive than that cash out was, even 6 months ago.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about the different types of home equity loans. HELOCs for standard home equity loans. Let's kind of dive into that as we're having this discussion.
Sure. And I think the two that we really the one that we primarily see is line of credit, right? Your home equity line of credit, HELOC, it's the most popular. It allows a borrower or homeowner to access equity as they need it up to a certain amount, right? You get a line of credit, let's say up to $20,000, and you can write checks as you use it. You can pay it back. You could reuse it again. You can use a credit card, whatever may be, right? Then there's an alternative too, where you just get a lump sum, right? You take out a home equity loan for $20,000 and you get it in a lump sum and you use it however you see fit. Again, thousands of reasons why people have equity, but I think the most popular that we've seen is by far the line of credit.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. What's technology's role in this shift to equity, maybe not a cash out refi, but a regular HELOC? Talk to me a little bit about where you see technology and what its role will be in kind of really servicing this new market.
Well, I think it's all about speed, speed of information, integrated systems, all the same things we see kind of in the refinance phase two, right? Market as well. It's how can we get the information? If I'm a lender, how can I get the information about this particular property, this particular borrower as quickly as possible to make my underwriting decisions to determine whether or not this borrower qualifies, right? And whether that's valuation information, flood information, title information, whatever it may be, we can provide all that in an accelerated standpoint. And really what we see in the home equity space is, they don't want to wait 2 to 3 days for a title insurance commitment, unless it falls in that category based upon their parameters. But how can I get something quickly so I can just understand that information as fast as possible? And certainly we have a lot of solutions for that.
Well, let's dive into a little bit then. What are some of the solutions that WFG has as it relates to home equity lending?
So, we've been involved in home equity lending since I joined WFG 11 years ago, right? And that's throughout the pandemic. So, we've really worked hard to make sure that, one, we have the full scope of products that our lenders and our potential customers are looking for, right? Whether or not that's an informational report that we could deliver either instantly or near instantly or within 24 hours, or whether it's a title insurance commitment, right? Some lenders still want a title insurance commitment depending upon loan amount, whether it's a property report, whether it's an AVM, valuation, flood information. We have access to all of that information and we can deliver it in a mechanism so all that information is provided to you basically at one time. You don't have to go to 6 different resources to place your orders for an AVM and a flood cert and title and then coordinate your closing. You can place all your orders with us using our technology. Makes it really easy, and we can even customize those products. So if you want to see certain tidbits of information all in one report, we can develop that for you, make it really easy for you.
Excellent. What are some of the other things that lenders need to look for especially if they haven't been doing home equities, if they're not very familiar? How do they kind of get involved? How do they vet who they should be working with? Give me a little bit more understanding from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think that for us, one of the things I always like to point out, as I mentioned already, is we're experienced in the home equity lending space. We understand that certainly the revenue profile for a home equity loan is much different than it is for refinance transaction, and we have to take every step that we can to make sure our products and services are delivered not only with quality and timely, but then also at a price that makes sense, right? You're not making the same revenue streams as you are, so we have to be careful about that. I think the other thing is too, we don't. I don't have a black box that says this is how you do it, right? We partner with our customers and ask them, what do you believe your strategy is, and how can we help you execute on that strategy so you can better your competitors, right? That's what we really look to do, and we do have a lot of experience partnering with our customers and partnering with our lenders to help them be as successful as they can be.
Excellent. So as people are looking and they're partnering, what are some of the other things you think are coming down the pike as we go through the rest of this year? What are we in store for? Is it going to be more home equity? Are rates going to continue to rise? Do you think they're kind of level off a little? I mean, I know none of us have a crystal ball, and I always make that very clear, but what are some of the things, just from you being in the industry and having such great knowledge and expertise, what do you think we should expect?
I think as far as predicting rates, it's impossible. But, we probably reforecast our projections for this year multiple times already, right? I mean, I think as we entered 2022, the prevailing thought was that, interest rates would rise to around 4% by the fourth quarter. Well, forget it, right? We're already way over that. So I don't know. I mean, I think that, rates may go a little bit higher. If I have a wish, it's that they maybe peak or have peaked already and they start residing a little bit. But, they're not going to go back to the historic low levels that we've seen before. But we're still in an environment where, people's have acquired what I think I read $10 trillion in tappable equity in their homes. I mean, it's tremendous, right? So figuring out tools and allowing folks to figure out how they can access that equity is very valuable. And I've seen it already where, some of our lenders have pretty creative cash out refinance programs. Other lenders are really starting to develop and pivot to that home equity space where they have standalone second mortgages that they can offer to their borrowers throughout the course of the year. I do think that's going to be a really emerging market, if you will. We've already seen it. We've already seen increases, not just from seasonality, but year over year. And I think we'll continue to see that throughout this year.
Well, I think that's such a critical insight because I do think more and more lenders are pivoting and realizing that they need another revenue stream. Home equity is an area that they can not only help their borrower, but also help them as refi volumes have dried up quite a bit, as purchases are slowing up a little, and depending on where the lender's doing purchases, right? If there's inventory issues, there's inventory issues. There's not a quick fix for those inventory constraints. So they've got to look at different ways that they can offer. What's on the horizon for WFG? What are some of the things you guys are looking to do? Where else can you guys add value to the industry? What are your lender partners looking for from you guys?
Well, I think there's a couple things there, right? As you mentioned, lenders are pivoting to equity this year. And it's really, I hate to age myself again. We keep coming back to that 20 years in the market. But when I first started, the company I worked for, we were processing well over 15,000 home equity transactions a month, right? Home equity was massive, kind of shrunk with the recession, started building back a little bit. The reason I mention that though is because there's a lot of different ways to originate and close and make sure that your borrower is the best experience for a home equity transaction. We have a lot of that experience, whether it's streamlined transactions, whether it's mail away, e-closing, portfolio review. I think all of those things are on the table now, and some lenders might not realize that, hey, we can get really creative with how we can generate home equity leads, how we can generate these loans, and how we can close them very successfully. So we're always looking to partner with our customers and our prospective customers on, what's that best solution look like for you. For us at WFG, it's all about making sure that we can deliver data and information that our lenders need as seamlessly and as quickly as possible. As I mentioned, you have a property report or a legal investing report for your property information evaluation, whether it's an AVM, you need flood information, you need certain other tidbits of information, whether it's employment or whether it's verification of income, whatever it may be. I could take care of like 3 or 4 of those for you right away and give you one view of that really, really easily. That can help expedite your decision, and that can help you originate the loan and help you close that loan a lot more quickly. And we've spent a lot of time making sure that the products that we deliver not only are timely, but then they're also delivered with quality. So you're not getting a junk report, right? You're getting something that's accurate, that you can count on, that's going to help you support your decision in making that loan instead of creating a problem in the future.
Well, you make such a good point. It's not just about speed, but it's got to be accurate. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, so many people can hang their hat on, I got it done in a day. Well, if the information is not valid, if it's not accurate, you have a much greater risk exposure for that. That doesn't help you. So it's the combination of speed and accuracy that really makes a difference.
You got to do both. Absolutely.
That's such a good point. And so as people as lenders are shifting and they're doing more and they're looking for more creative solutions and everything else in the market, besides technology, is there other things that they should be looking to do or use so that they can provide? And I guess one of the other questions I would add is, has direct data sources really changed how quickly you can get that fast, accurate data to them?
It has, and it's something that we've worked on for years, right? We're supported by our national title services group that's all they're focused on, is how they could, expedite the title search process, deliver products where they need to go, whether it's, PDF, Word document, whatever it may be, XML data exchange, as quickly and as accurately as possible. So certainly our data resources, we've enriched over the last 10 years and even over the course of the pandemic to make sure that they're as deep and as accurate as possible. And then we do have QC processes, as we've talked about too, to make sure that our products are delivered with quality. One of the things I like to talk about is that, it's great that we can exceed someone's expectations from a turn time standpoint. But if I'm a jerk to deal with and I deliver a junk product, then what's it worth, right? So we have quality, and then we also have that service that's on top of it. We measure via NPS scores, well over 75, which is world class and something we're very proud of. I want folks to like to work with us and continue to build relationships with us and continue to give us more of their business, because if they're successful, I'm successful. So it's a good pairing.
Oh, fantastic. Great insights there. As we're wrapping up, you and I could go through this on and on because you offer so many great insights, and I love, and I hope our listeners are taking notes and going through that. Delivering a great customer experience is critical. What are some of the lessons learned in the pandemic of leveraging both virtual, digital assets and being able to still now meet live. A lot of that was taken away from us. You and I mentioned, we saw each other a few weeks ago in Vegas at one of the conferences. How do you blend all of that together, and what are some of the lessons learned during the pandemic for being able to engage with your lender partners, helping them better engage, and finding that right mix of digital and live?
Well, I think there's always a better way, right? And throughout my career, that's what I've always learned. I mean, there's not just the one way and you have to do it this way. It's really, how can we continuously improve what we're doing? And the pandemic certainly introduce some tests and some challenges with, availability of individuals, whether it's a signing agent or a county or whatever it may be. We saw kind of the push for virtual closings and things along those lines, which, didn't turn out to be the silver bullet that we thought it was going to be. So for us, we've always tried to make sure that we're scalable, across our operations for not just our production, but then from a closing side to make sure that, if it's a hybrid closing, that's going to be most effective, a mail-away closing. And you can get really, really creative in the home equity space on how you close transactions, whether it's in the branch, whether it's a RON closing or remote closing or whatever it may be. We want to make sure we can support any of those types of solutions. And that's where we really partner with our customer and ask them, well, how do you want to do this, right? We've seen it done these ways before and it's been successful. There's traditional methods, there's non-traditional methods. What do you think can be your competitive advantage and how can I help you realize that?
Oh, great insights. Dan, for people who want to find out more about all of the incredible solutions that you have and partnering with them, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you guys?
So I think there's two ways. First way is you can always go to our website, WFGLS.com. We have a home equity page, has links to all of our products and services. You can also contact me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way. I'm there all day, every day. So send me a message. It's just Daniel Bailey. You'll see me there. I'm smiling. I got my bike in my background. So you can find me there as well.
Outstanding. Dan, you are a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for being a guest on this episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Michael. Great talking with you.